Pittsburgh.
I don't even know the matchups. Keep going.
We are big Penguin fans. Love hockey and especially love playoff hockey, and just both now utterly disappointed on the current state of the Pittsburgh Penguins franchise and where they stand. Kyle Dubas comes in, switching as a GM. A lot of hope. Everybody was very excited. Thought that this guy would finally be the one.
You enunciated that weird.
What?
Kyle Dubas.
Kyle Dubas.
Isn't it Dubas?
I'm pretty sure it's Dubas.
Dubas.
Yeah.
Is he French?
He could be.
French-Canadian, maybe?
Maybe.
Okay, continue.
They're prevalent in the NHL. But either way, we thought that he was going to maybe make some of the big moves, do some of the things that previous GMs have been a little hesitant to do, like getting rid of big-name players that mean a lot to the city, i.e. Malkin, i.e. Letang. So, you expect those things to happen and change to happen because obviously we don't want a repeat of what happened last season. We can't miss the playoffs again. The Penguins had the longest streak in the NHL of going to the playoffs prior to 2 years ago, and then completely lost their way, completely lost their direction. You go hire a new GM. You have the highest hopes, the best hopes. Finally change things. You get rid of Gensel, and this is what you get. This is what happens.
Yeah, it's certainly underwhelming. Sorry, real quick, just to go through the playoff brackets so everybody knows, what the hell is going on here. Florida and Tampa Bay, Boston and Toronto, Rangers and Capitals, Carolina and the Islanders. That's in the East. In the West, we have ourselves Dallas and Vegas, Winnipeg and Colorado, Vancouver and Washington and Edmonton and the Kings. Not that I honestly do not care about really any of those teams. That's why we're talking Penguins, not Boston Bruins. I don't know anything about the Bruins. I don't care. But yeah, no, you expect a change, and he did make some tough decisions that on people that a lot of fans liked. I think did we get rid of Dumoulin? Got rid of this is a little bit further back, but Justin Schultz was gone. He got rid of a couple other players, and so you're like, okay, well, he's making the changes, and everybody was uncomfortable with it. But I don't think he made any real changes. You know what I mean? Like, he made some fringe changes and just brought in different players that are around the same skill level, right? Like, yeah, we got rid of Dumoulin, but then we brought in some other defenseman that's good enough, right? So it's like you're replacing it with just a different version of the same player, right? You're not making any sweeping changes unless you talk about the four big names on this team, and that's Sidney Crosby, Evgeny Malkin, Chris Letang, and Erik Karlsson, and then you could even lump just the entire goaltender position in with that because obviously in hockey, that's it's like quarterback almost. Center and goalie are the two most important positions, so we'll just lump the entire goalie position in there. So those 5 spots, until you make a defined difference and change in those spots, nothing really matters.
No.
Right? And so I said this, how long have I been saying trade Malkin? I feel like it's been 2 years now.
Yeah,
and he went on a stretch last year and then again this year where for like 10 games in a row he looked like the best player in hockey. Mm-hmm. And I said, deal him now while you can. Now, granted, this year's was after the All-Star break, so I understand it, but the year before was not. It was before the All-Star break, and I said, or not the All-Star break, the trade deadline, sorry. Go get your most value for Malkin. You can go get some good prospects and a good, solid, rotational third-line player that can actually make a difference. You can go... move Malkin, Letang. I think Letang has to go. I don't view him as a good defenseman anymore. Whatever. Karlsson, I would call up Ottawa and see if they'll take him back. He's making $10 million. I'd say we'll eat 4 of it. Will you take him back for $6 million a year? I mean, anything. We'll throw in an extra pick. Give us back something. Give us back your 14th best prospect. We'll call it a day, right? Like, it's clearly not working. But I think we all know what the actual real problem is. Are they willing to make the change at head coach?
Yeah.
Are they? Do you think they are?
I mean, they haven't. They were never hesitant to move off head coaches. I mean, we got rid of who was it? Mike
Bilesma,
and then there was one more.
Mike Johnston.
We got rid of in the middle of the season. Then we went on to win the Cup.
Yeah, that was the first. That was when. What's his face took over? Sullivan. Mike Sullivan. Yeah.
It's just in hockey, it seems like voices go stale in the locker room.
Yeah.
Very quickly.
They absolutely can.
You partner that in with the lack of goaltending, and you can really tie it back to the mistake that was made 3 or 4 seasons ago when they chose Matt Murray to keep over Marc-Andre Fleury and started
That
that
was a
whole train
problem.
wreck, because then Murray went on to be abysmal.
Yes.
And then you had this
He's not
guy
even
in the
hockey
building.
anymore.
Yeah, you had this guy in the building that came up to be pretty good by the name of Tristan Jarry, and then now he looks horrific. Who got
Yeah, he
his
hasn't
job
been
taken by him from Nadal? What is it?
Alexander Nedeljkovic.
Nedeljkovic. Yeah,
Nedeljkovic?
Yeah.
Nedeljkovic, something like that.
I look at it on the jersey and I'm just like,
Yeah, I don't know. We just call him Ned.
I don't know.
Most
It's
people call
just
him Ned.
you,
Alex Ned.
You need to have a better solution at goaltender.
Well, I would agree. And so, yeah, I mean,
There's a lot of things that need to change.
So yes, right. And so there's two things, and one of the things I think Dubas would have already moved off of Sullivan, but I think the Fenway Sports Group has something. They're like in love with Sullivan. I think there are orders from above for Dubas not to move off Sullivan. So I think one of two things can happen. One, Dubas says, "Screw it, I'm going to do it anyway, and I'm going to fire Sullivan." Two, they basically force Sully to say, "Hey, you got a clean staff. Everybody has to go except for you. You have to go hire an entire new staff because clearly this isn't working." I'm blanking on the name of our power play coach, but we were horrendous in the power play this year. Absolutely awful.
All year we were
on the power play with that
league.
much talent. How can you? I think how many teams are in the NHL? 30.
30.
I know we were second to last, so 29th on the power play this year. Unbelievable. And we led the league in shorthanded goals given up. So not only were you bad on the power play, you were hemorrhaging goals on the power play. Like, what are we doing here? Right? And that goes, and the same thing, in the same general vein, is that they were awful in overtime games. They were like 3-10. They were like 3-10 in overtime games. That's horrendous.
Yeah.
That's horrific. And then you heard a story come out that they don't even practice at a practice. What are we doing here? What are we doing? How can you not practice overtime? It's 3-on-3 hockey. Mm-hmm. It's fun. How do you not practice that? I don't get it. I don't understand it. So for those reasons, I think it's either Sullivan's got to go or they're going to make him clean staff, because these are things you can attribute to coaching. Overtime and power play. That is coaching. Absolute coaching.
That, and of the older players, the only one I would keep is Crosby. That's it.
It feels like the Golden State Warriors a little bit, where it's like build around Steph Curry, everybody else on the market.
Yep.
Sidney Crosby, everybody else could go. I know you'd like to keep Rust. You'd like to keep a couple. Obviously, Bunting, you just got him for Gensel, so it's like, well, we're obviously going to want to keep him. I'd pick 3 or 4 guys. Crosby,
Rust, and Bunting.
I'd say Sid, outside of your guys, Gino and Malkin, or Gino and Letang, outside of those guys, you can pick 2 other guys you want to rebuild around. Everybody else on the market. Period. End of story. That's it. Sid, go pick 2 young guys. They got to be under 25. It's you, those 2, and everybody else on the market. We're cleaning house. This is it. Mm-hmm. This is it. We want to build around you for another 3 years, make a run. We'll sign you to a really, really nice extension. Go pay him most in the NHL. I'm fine with that. And build around him in a young core.
Yeah. This one needs to happen. You shake it up.